Hi, I'm Elizabeth Doherty Thomas.
And I'm Bill Doherty.
And we're co-founders of the Doherty Relationship Institute. Bringing up discernment counseling to your leaning out spouse is an important topic we want to discuss in this video.
Yes, how and when to bring up getting discernment counseling together is really important. It's important to be careful and strategic about this. And it'll depend, of course, on your relationship. It'll depend on whether you and your spouse are talking every day about your problems, or your spouse is shut down, maybe even it's moved out. I mean, so there isn't just one way to do it, but I'll talk about some scenarios here. Let's say the scenario where you've been saying to your spouse, we need help, we can get help, let's get marriage counseling. And you're kind of in that conversation. And your spouse is saying, no, I'm not interested in marriage counseling. Maybe you've tried it before, or they're just saying they don't have the energy for it. They've worked hard enough as it is. It's, you're the one that should be doing the changes. No, so you've been discussing getting marriage counseling, and there's a kind of a wall there. Okay. What you can do is to say you have done some research on something that is not marriage counseling, but is a form of help that's designed specifically for couples in your situation. And that will get the interest of your spouse that, okay, there's a way to get help that isn't what you think. Okay. And then if you feel like you've learned enough about it, say, by looking at the website, you could do just a little summary before you send them to the website. And you could say, my understanding is that it's not trying to change anything. It's trying to help us figure out what's a good direction to go in. I mean, that would be a simple thing. And it's brief. We go in together, but we're not trying to fix anything right now. It's a matter of trying to learn whether it is fixable. So low key. Would you be willing to take a look at it at least? If I send you a link. Okay, so that would be in the scenario where you're still in conversation with each other, and you have brought up, let's get help, and you're getting blocked there. Other scenario would be maybe your spouse is basically not communicating anymore. They've said they're thinking of leaving, and maybe you two have had a lot of arguments, or maybe the person you're married to just doesn't like to argue, and you're not in much communication, certainly about your relationship. Maybe they've even moved out. In this case, you could do it through an email or a text, where you say you've come across a kind of service that's really specifically designed for couples in your situation, where somebody is really thinking about divorce and the other person wants to work on it. Either way, when you're doing that, you are not communicating to them that there's something wrong with them about the fact that they're thinking of leaving you. That's really hard to do. Okay. You're just sort of noting this is the situation where we're differing on where to go. And this is a way to get help for people who are differing on which way to go. And so those would be two scenarios. And here's where I would, if necessary, come on strong. And that is, your spouse owes you a look at the darn website. Your spouse owes you at least a little bit of time to investigate whether, if you will, this medicine might help. Okay, even if the other medicines haven't. Okay, and so I would just be firm on that. If they have not looked it up, just get back and say, I'm really hoping that you'll spend a little time looking at this. And just, again, you don't want to be yelling at them on it, but a lot of times the person who is leaning out is just, they're up and down, and they're just, they're demoralized, and there's a lot on their mind, and they just don't want to deal with things. So just gently but firmly ask them to look at the website. And the reason I say that is that some people really don't get the leaning out doesn't really get what this is until they look at it on the website. And it takes the burden off you to do some big, deep explanation. Do not answer questions that you don't understand about. In other words, the advantage of either of these directions of saying, please look at the website, because it's designed for us. Big advantage of that, and maybe even stopping there, you don't have to answer questions. You don't have to be some expert on it. It's all there for them to look at. And they can inquire of a discernment counselor more. So it takes you out of the expert position. So I hope this has been helpful for you to think about being mindful, careful, strategic about how you bring up discernment counseling at this sort of crucial time in your marriage.
Visit us at discernmentcounselors.com for more information and for the professionals you can reach out to.